All right, here's the take for me on Luis Diaz, and I don't know if it's revolutionary, but I'd be interested to know what your thoughts are. I think Liverpool should and probably will try to cash in on Luis Diaz this summer. I think the reason will be you're going to get maximum amount of value for him. You're going to get a player in on the exchange of that. It's not a trade, but you're going to get a player in to fill those boots, and you're going to get maximum value for him from either Saudi Arabia or Barcelona, both of which are apparently going for him, in inverted commas, this summer. Of course, there could be the other side of the coin, but I still think that Liverpool want to move Luis Diaz on. I know that in one of my videos recently, I said, I think we could get the maximum out of Luis Diaz if we have Kirkes on that left side. That kind of goes for any player that I think we have on that left side there, guys. If you got Kirkes immediately behind you, you've got a great player there. You've got like someone who's willing to enable the other people around him. And frankly, I think Liverpool, it's not a case of is he a good or a bad player. It's obvious to me that Luis Diaz is a good player. But it's really a case of does he fit the needs that Liverpool immediately have? And frankly, is he going to perform to the standard for that price that we can get at that price elsewhere? Now, to an extent, we're in a very fortunate situation because there is a league somewhere in the world who's willing to pay a huge amount of cash for a lot of big players. And obviously the other day, allegedly, there was this headline of Darwin Nunez turning down the £85 million or whatever money move it was to Saudi Arabia. And I think people are throwing this Saudi Arabian figure around as if it's the true value of these players. I think we know that Saudi Arabia will overpay for players. It's A, kind of a status thing, B, we need to attract you to the league thing, and a C, well, we're building the league, so we've got to overpay to an extent. And there's a bit of a translational nature there to the deals that go on. All of that, I don't have a problem with. It does feel like artificially inflating a league, though. And I think to an extent, if we sell to Saudi Arabia, we will be very fortunate that we managed to get that level of cash. The reality at Liverpool is that we are living at the moment with a couple of players, and I don't mean many, but a couple of players who we bought from previous ideas of what the team were going to be. And now we're kind of living with the reality of those guys. Darwin Nunez is 100% one of them. And that's because if we'd had someone like Jurgen Klopp at the team, maybe the team would form in a different way. If we'd had someone like Pep Lingers in the side, we'd probably be a more aggressive, attacking team, but also vulnerable in other ways. Both of those things can be true at the same time. Luis Diaz, for me, falls halfway between those two categories. He was clearly very much a Klopp player, audacious, buccaneering, brave, always willing to try, always putting in effort. And a lot of those things correlate with the slot era too, but not in the same way. I think there are other aspects to a slot player that we can appreciate and, just overall adore as Liverpool fans. It's not to say that Diaz, again, is not a great player. But I think that there are other plans for this Liverpool side in terms of frontline movement. And that's not to say, by the way, part of the reason that we bought Slot in was to transition this team. It didn't need to be quick. It didn't need to be a one summer thing. He's a coach. He is someone who clearly is able to work with talented players and put them in positions that maybe they don't feel the most comfortable in. It's not to say he did that with every player in the team, but I think it is to say he did that with Luis Diaz at different points in the season. Luis Diaz wasn't always playing his most comfortable position. So if we don't move him on this summer, I'm not really uncomfortable about that. But I think Liverpool are very much playing this game of, well, we can wait. So do you want him or not? Do you want to make that big offer? Do you want to actually test us? Or do you just want to put us in a position where we can hold on to him because we're not really going to get the maximum amount of value? And frankly, we're not going to be able to find anyone else in the market. There is a little bit of this transfer merry-go-round this summer, which I think is having implications on every side, right? If Liverpool were to sell Diaz, I think we go big on another player. Now, first of all, we've already gone big on Diaz. Fine. I think that's a perfectly reasonable move to make. But that is one part of a front line that is, kind of boxed off there. If Wirtz comes in, I think he plays 10. I think we have Gakpo, and I think we have someone through the centre. Gakpo's massively going overlooked in this transfer window, by the way, and I will do a video on that. But my point with Diaz and Gakpo, those guys, they're both highly valuable players. And us living with the kind of layover of the Klopp era is that we also added value to those players, right? In coming to Liverpool, we kind of retained that value. I think if Manchester United was selling Diaz this summer, they wouldn't get that same value. If Manchester United was selling Gakpo, they wouldn't get that same value because the perception of the club is very different. And a lot of that is down to Klopp. So I'm not willing to throw Klopp under the bus and say, oh, you bought in Diaz, you bought in Nunez, you've lumbered us, like some people have on social media, with another summer where we've got to tough it out. Yeah, you've also given us another summer where we've got Florian Wirtz, a midfield that we don't feel that we need to really change at all, though Angelo Stiller would be a fascinating addition to that. And on top of that, we're also working with a technically brilliant squad. Now, that saves some of the blushes last season of, at times, Luis Díaz, but also Antonio Nunez, Darwin Nunez, right? All of that is a cumulative thing, which, as I keep saying in these videos, kind of affords Liverpool time. And what it means is that while we're talking about urgency and every journalist is talking about how quick deals will be done, how quick a deal will be done, we'll do deals better than anyone, do them quicker than anyone else. That's because we're fast. We're not the fastest, but we're fast. So all of these deals can be done. But I will remind you of one, I don't even think it's Denzel Washington phrase, right? Is it Denzel? Yeah, probably. If you read the news, no, if you don't read the news, you're uninformed. If you read the news, you're misinformed. So what's this channel? Existential crisis. The point is, it was 2 weeks ago that we heard about the move for Florian Wirtz. It was months ago that we've been processing the Nunez deal. It feels very clear to me that Darwin Nunez will move on. The very clear differences between Nunez and Diaz. Nunez's body language and comments have not been good. Diaz's body language, comments, approach have all been A1. And don't get me wrong, I think the comment that he made about, well, I'm happy to stay or I'm happy to go, certainly entertains the idea that he could leave the club at some point. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with players being honest, especially to their native journalists, right? Because I appreciate honesty over obstification, where the player tries to, avoid the question. If someone's honest with us as a fan base, I think we can accept that. But when they kind of muddy the waters, I don't think that helps things. And maybe sometimes that's because the club's also told them not to answer a question straight and they can't. But I think Diaz is just being honest and sort of giving it, sort of shooting from the hip, saying it as he sees it. And I kind of appreciate that from a player, to be honest. I want that from a player. So I appreciate what Diaz has done for the team, but at the same time, I'm ready for him to move on if he was to go. Partially because I also think of the replacements we would get if Diaz was to move on. I think if Diaz moves on, first of all, Florian Wirtz, fantastic up on the left. Secondly, I think it would mean that we would be forcing our own hand to get someone else. I think that's the other part of what's going on here with Diaz, right? I think Diaz, it's all well and good at the start of the window saying, oh, well, he won't go anywhere. But as the window moves on and Liverpool move into negotiations with other teams, we box off Kerkez, we've already got Frimpong, Wirtz up front. We begin to work on the Canate contract. I think you're looking at one more piece to change the movement of that front line. And frankly, I think we're looking for someone who's a deadly striker of the ball. Now, Diaz is good. I think Gakpo's getting overlooked again because I think of his ball carrying skills. We're busy, evaluating Ekitike and these kind of players. Nunez is not that ball carrier, but Gakpo. What's Gakpo got that we bought him in for? What did he do for PSV that we wanted him for? He was a great ball carrier. He was a great hookup player. He was a great striker of the ball. I think we're overlooking elements of that when we look at Ekitike and not Alvarez. Alvarez is a whole different kind of striker, but Ekitike and those other people that can carry in, drop deep. I wonder if Gakpo is going to be asked to do that next year. I'd be interested to see it. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I think the Diaz thing will rumble on for a whole summer because he'll either want a new contract or he'll want to leave. Nunez, I'll do a whole other video about that. And everyone else is kind of like just add-ons to the transfers. I think we need to do some of those smaller transfers, the Harvey Elliott style, Morton, Quansah. No one's talking about Joe Gomez. I don't really know what's happened to the Joe Gomez rumours, probably just because he hasn't been visible. And I think, again, it shows. You either read the news and you're misinformed, or you don't and you're uninformed. Which one do you want to be, guys? This one, I'm not here claiming to give you information. I'm here to help you synthesize the information we have and work out what's really going on. Making the frogs, you know? Anyway, appreciate you guys. Hit the subscribe button. There's Patreon, Discord, and of course there's a super chat down there if you want to contribute to the channel. Get on all three of them, and I will chat to you guys in a while. Much love. Bye.